give me a fist fight all day, every day.
I like to call it a mosh pit here, thank you, Joe. I think that's more fitting.
It does make
Somehow,
sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
LeBlanc has been a very banned champion in the LPL. Not every team plays it. Angel absolutely does, though. And it does allow Tianjin to go towards an AD jungler more comfortably, which is more towards his comfort style. LeBlanc plus Tianjin on early skirmishing jungler, maybe that could be something of power to play around for OMG.
Feels like maybe the AP junglers have been abandoned for this one as the Lee Sin going to be locked in early for Jiejie, and Cryin instantly goes for the Malzahar to try and lock this LeBlanc down and deny that early threat.
This is something that we did see a little bit in the group stage. In fact, OMG, I believe they played against Malzahar or two. I definitely remember Rare Atom playing against RA. It's been around, basically, thereabouts. Tianjin, we did say, look, probably going towards the AD skirmishing jungler. Well, I mean, he was 0-7-6, but he still got the MVPs, so hey, why not run it back? See if he can get himself at least a kill on Vi in this series. He's got another game to try it with now.
He certainly does. I believe it was... Angel has actually played the Malzahar in the LPL.
One, but, yeah.
He played it versus Rare Atom and got absolutely destroyed. The story of Malzahar in the LPL so far has been you lock in Malzahar and then the enemy team sends 3 players to dive you mid lane at like 3 minutes and then you
I'll
lose
have
the game.
you know, Scout won on it. Scout my goat. He won a game on Malzahar.
yeah. Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That was also like he got over 3 minutes, I think, but then just continued and managed to win the game somehow. Supports being banned away. I think we've seen like 4 Mouse games in total. I'll move on from the Malzahar. Brawl.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about it.
We will. Now going to be banned away from top lane as well.
Yeah, I wondered whether we were also going to see, well, probably Nautilus last ban here from OMG, but well, also Wink had a really good Rakan game. Even though the Nautilus is very good with the Kai'Sa, do you ban out the Rakan just because Wink was really being annoying, using that mobility both forwards and backwards to make big plays? You just can see why they're roaming an Ari. You need to kind of remove one of them, I feel like, and force them onto the other. Well, I mean, maybe the logic is he's going to get one of them. But no, they do ban away that Nautilus because maybe it works out a little better with the Lee Sin, the Malzahar, where you are just continually going forwards. The Rakan can go forwards and backwards, though, in the same team fight. I know it's a shocking thing that can happen with Engage SWAT. Sometimes they can get out of a play, too. It's incredible.
Certainly Rakan can, one of the slippiest champions in the whole game. But very good at setting up for a pick as well, which, like, when you look at this EDG position right now, it's so good at finding an individual pick, but so is OMG. It's like LeBlanc and Vi. This is going to be who can kill one person the fastest, I think is kind of the name of the game right now. Poppy feels good, though.
Oh yeah, Poppy's looking like pretty nice on this one. 3 dash champions already. Can also potentially eject one of these players from the start. I mean, last pick Cassante is looking pretty okay from the side of EDG, but this of course could be Ppgod on the Poppy support. It is technically a flex pick, so we'll see what Solokill wants to go towards. If he does lock in a Cassante, they can at least press W in front of the Poppy ultimate. It can do okay versus the Renekton. Yeah, I think as it stands at this point, you're probably looking at a Cassante for Solokill, because at least you can end up kind of going unstoppable in front of that Poppy ultimate and denying Ppgod some of that value.
Cassante goes top, then we suddenly get Ppgod, Renekton support, and the Poppy flex
Yeah.
the ultimate.
You're not ready for Renekton Sedrani bot lane, I'm telling you now.
I'll tell you what, Renekton mid, LeBlanc support, it's a thing. That's a solo queue thing. It's good versus Leona. Probably not. It is going to be Renekton in that top side, and it does mean that Ppgod gets a chance to try and play denial on this Poppy.
You can also play it really for dominant laning phase if you manage to get brush control and you get that kind of angle just next to that wall jutting out. You look for some easy wall stuns. Of course, that's how Mickey X did very well versus top esports back at MSI on that Poppy support. Really threw Jackal and Mako a curveball with that one, which they couldn't answer to. We've had a couple of Poppy supports. Okay. Yeah, I like it. You just flatten it out, you throw it like a frisbee. Anyway, see exactly what he can do on that one. Ppgod away from his comfort of that Nautilus. Not really sure if it was his best game ever. He found, again, it's not quite the nothing but net. It was nothing but wall throwing hooks into the terrain. This time the terrain is his friend. Maybe that's why he's going towards it.
Do you know what? It was a big fat dub, so Ppgod, everything is forgiven. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter what happened in the game, a win is a win.
If we can say the same for Tianjin, who walked away at 0-7 with an MVP, you know, I think we could probably extend that olive or Olive Branch over to Ppgod as well. All right, you know what? Given how the first game went, I'm really hesitant to talk about win conditions because it feels like both these teams are just based and fueled on vibes. OMG 1-0 up, such an important series it feels like because both these teams are on the downswing. You get a win here, you put yourself in a better position to recover and maybe fight for a top 4 spot in this Nirvana group. So regardless of what form they are there, just have to come as they are and see how they come out into this group. They need wins. You cannot afford to drop too many series. If you end up in that bottom 4, you don't qualify for playoffs or anything like it. You qualify for next year.
You certainly do. It's time to get onto the Rift. It's time to get into game number 2. Game number 1 was pure chaos, and I expect nothing else here in game 2.
Is it just me, or did the EDG fans seem a little quieter than before last game? I can't quite blame them, but it feels like that maybe the volume's dropped a little bit after whatever the hell happened on the Rift about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, the volume was dropped in the crowd, but it's increased on Weibo. So I'm sure the EDG players won't hear the end of that one. Let's see how Leaf can do. He looked like he was doing some mega damage on that Kai'Sa towards the end of the previous game, hitting some of those Prey Seekers and managing to find one of those fights.
Oh, we get the fake. This is the fake LeBlanc skin. So we get the Hall of Legends LeBlanc skin coming out from Angel. We had it played the other day as well. We've seen it a couple of times. Yet to see the Ari skin played in LPL, but it feels like that champion's becoming a little bit less meta. The LeBlanc has been really, really powerful. So there you go, bit of an homage to the great of that champion.
Let's see if Angel can live up to this champion's reputation in the hands of Faker. He had, what was it, like a 24-game win streak or something on the champion?
It was a lot.
Flawless for a long, long time. But let's see if Angel can do a similar thing here today. He's up against this Malzahar, which is a pick that we've seen a few times to try and answer the LeBlanc, and to,
oh my God.
I would say, limited success.
Hang on, so you're telling me Faker had his unbroken win streak, the unkillable Demon King on the LeBlanc, lost to EDG with a LeBlanc counterpick at MSI Season 5. It's the story writes itself here, Munch. We've got the LeBlanc counterpick, it's EDG, it's Faker's skin on the LeBlanc. It can't write itself anymore. It's probably not worth it for this matchup in the way there's been this scrappy, but I just want to say it for once.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say it lost to a Malzahar as well. That would have been
no,
really
it's a LeBlanc counter.
Top.
It's not the Morgana mid, but yeah.
It's not that dissimilar. They've got a similar amount of permanent CC between the two of them. They're both purple. I think we take those. Let's see what Cryin can do on the pick, though. So far, no 3-man dives onto Cryin, which for Malzahar that's a win in the first few levels.
Yeah, this luxury it is. He walks into mid lane and he sees only one person there. That's exactly what he wants, really. Now, things change if you win jungle matchup and if you win bot lane. Because if supports manage to roam mid lane, it's really, really nasty. We'll say Poppy's not the best mid-roaming champion in the league. It is quite difficult to come out of Fog of War and get wall stuns onto mid lane because of... this is probably another conversation that's valuable to happen at some point, which is the wall changes in League were obviously huge. I feel like we've gotten used to them now, but the mid lane wall changes were so huge. You know, you used to be able to walk into mid lane like pretty okay as some of these support champions and really stop mid laners from playing aggressively. Because the mid lane has actually opened up a lot more, the terrain's a lot wider, it's much harder to interrupt that lane. Angel already gets a flash out of that. Walls didn't apply to that at all, that's just 1v1 mid laning brawn.
Didn't even have to flash, forces Cryien's out, and you know, Cryien's a player that has been criticized for his laning, does a little bit better later on into the game, but we're not later on into the game just yet. He will be a utility pick at that stage, but he's got to get there first. And Angel, kind of the MVP of OMG across the course of this year, and he's looking to continue that kind of performance here today.
Throw wall, stun, good damage, stops him dashing out, and that is one dead bird.
I mean, he's dead before I could even start play-by-play. Wink just annihilated. Wink and you miss it, literally. Starry grabbing himself first blood, and that's a 600 gold lead bot.
And you know, most of the time when Poppy gets wall stuns, it's because she's come out of vision and you weren't expecting to have to stand away from walls. You have to train your instincts very differently to play against something like the Poppy support. He just stands next to the wall. You know, you can see Ppgod, he is in full vision, and Wink, why would you stand there? When you are against a Poppy, you stand in the middle of the lane, not next to the wall, to stop those wall stuns coming through. Poppy, if you don't get that wall stun, is not a very powerful champion in laning phase. So I think Wink, that's just some inexperience against the champion and real disrespect against Ppgod.
And also, just, like, the funny thing is, that wasn't even really the full combo, because Steadfast Presence was up. Wink never even got to try and dash away. He wasn't even grounded, because he never even got a chance to use his W or his E to try and escape. Just got one shot by Ppgod and Starry. And Ppgod has now moved into the mid lane and gets another wall stun. Angel silenced, though, so couldn't get the chains, and now Ppgod finds himself aggressed upon, had the flash but didn't even need it, and in the meantime Jiejie gets to stop Drake.
So we were just talking about the whole Malzahar, you know, the three-man greeting in mid lane where, you know, you walk up in mid lane and everyone ganks you because Malzahar can't defend himself early. The fact that you got that kill in bot lane means that Ppgod can move to mid lane. He's standing on mid lane, which means that Cryin can't get access to even getting the wave clear here. See, that Angel is just trying to make sure that suddenly his minions die for free. It's forcing EDG to bring reinforcements mid lane because Cryin can't stand here alone now, because bot lane won first, and it means that it's no longer that honorable 1v1 mid. This is exactly the worry that we've seen about the Malzahar pick, and we've seen this very commonly, even when it has been played the number of times in LPL.
The other worrying thing is the fact that he is on 32 CS against 54 right now. It's not been a good start, has it? Jiejie just gonna take a shield to the face with a bit of a hammer to the face as well. Ppgod knows how diplomacy works around here.
Yeah, I feel like that's not good. Of the things I want in my face, those are not things I feel like it is good for, like, my bone structure. Level 6 hits!
Oh my god, the damage is there. Cryin just removed. His ult does nothing. EDG looked lost in this one.
I don't really know what the idea was there. You have a lost chapter on Cryin, it's not the biggest damage. Jiejie doesn't have level 6 either. If the Lee Sin had the level 6, I can understand looking for a big burst play, but doing that against Tianjin, who had flash at level 6, that's not it. That's just a poor calculation, and you have to wonder now, EDG, who are in control for so much of game 1, throwing it like that, I wonder if that's ended up affecting them. Maybe they just didn't spot Tianjin here. They spot out Ppgod. Tianjin does, in fact, miss the flash too. They miss damage here, and they still lose the play. EDG, really just a poor decision to make that play.
Ppgod also just kind of absorbs it all. Like, he didn't even really take that much damage. It's not like Cryin got his combo off. He just flashed for the ult, so Cryine's bringing basically no damage to the table. Really, really tough one for EDG. Losing mid, losing bot. It's a 2,000, in fact, over 2,000 gold lead for OG at the 7-minute mark. Yeah, this has been a really, I think that last game has really got to EDG.
Yeah, and for, like, just to put this in perspective, 2,000 gold lead at 20, 30 minutes or whatever, it's not that much. Right now it is 20% of your gold. But that's like an extra fifth of the gold spent. You know, you can describe it different numbers. I feel like that ends up putting it in better perspective. Leave getting a lot of damage put onto him, but turns around with the barrier.
Forced to flash away here. And that will be summoners traded 2 for 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Hery now could be in trouble on the top side. EDG, it's their turn to make some plays around the map. Dominus comes out from Hery, flashes himself to safety, turns around and gets some good damage onto Jiejie, and then slices and dices out of there.
Jiejie doesn't even get a chance to use the kick combo. Hery would have lived from this kind of HP anyway, but Hery, Dominus and flash down, but lives to tell the tale, manages to collect that wave in top side too. So EDG, everything they have tried in this early game has failed. They have not been able to play through bot lane laning phase. Mid lane is now down almost 30 CS. It's not going to get any better than that because, you know, Cryin is so far behind and Angel is going to be getting to the point where he can trade very, very hard even in shorter trades. EDG, they are really, really going to be struggling for options because they need this Lee Sin to do something early. Jiejie very typically has, but this Lee Sin is going to get very hard to play later. You're playing into very slippery carries, you're playing into hard CC from the Vi, and you're playing into the Steadfast Presence of the Poppy. This is not an easy Lee Sin game. If it doesn't go well early, it's not getting any easier late game.
And the really tough thing about that is this was their first pick in the draft. This was their first lock-in. Was Jiejie grabbing himself that Lee Sin. It does feel like, in some ways, it's been answered in the draft. EDG, I mean, with how the last game went, I don't think we're just going to see a clean, easy win for OMG either. I don't have a lot of faith that either of these teams can make clean, easy wins happen. So expect shenanigans, expect the unexpected.
Hang on, you know something I completely passed over? Jiejie has his first kill on the Vi. He did it! He's 1-0! Yeah, so like across the series, 1-7 now. Yeah, congrats Jiejie, he has himself that ult again. So see if he can get involved in another one after this point. But yeah, OMG, much stronger start than in the last game where EDG, it felt like they really got off to a good start and Tianjin couldn't get involved early. It took a lot longer for him to, well, I mean, realistically, only really got involved in those Baron steals, but hey, well, he did well on that. We'll give him that one. But still, in a much stronger position at this point. Need to see if he can continue up this tempo and stop EDG from really getting on the board with stuff like this Malzahar. The big thing about playing around stuff like the Malzahar is that you want to make sure he never has breathing room to get on the board and start being a really obnoxious disruptor in the late game.
Hery doesn't have flash, manages to get away from the knockup though. Leave will have some time onto this tower. Jiejie can help hammer away on that one. Wink actually sticking around as well. I would have expected him to just give the plate over to Leave and Jiejie, but just going to be the 2 plates here as Hery moves back in. In fact, it's not even going to be the 2 plates because Hery's able to send them packing. Minion wave denied. Ppgod's moved over as well. And I think Leave will be able to stick around just long enough to finish that plate. The minions will do their job. Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, Leaf does get it.
Okay, there we go. Just about. I was wondering about that too. It's a little bit difficult when you don't have those grubs and the extra damage over time buff on it. EDG are going to get that. It's going to be at the cost of second dragon for OMG. So it's going to be 3 grubs apiece, 2 dragons over to OMG, and it's on a Chemtech Rift. We need to see how important the Chemtech was last game. Ppgod looking to contest this.
A lot of pings out from OMG. The TP behind enemy lines coming out from Solokill. Ppgod goes down. OMG full retreat here. Or are they? Hery looks like he still wants to go in for this one. That's 2 grubs by EDG as OMG continue to look. They will finally back away. I'd say that fight would have been ill-advised against the Malzahar when you're already a man down.
I gotta say, if you can't get on top of that Malzahar to cancel the ultimate, maybe don't go for it. So OMG, they do get themselves that dragon. They try and get the 4th grub for themselves. Would have been great if they could have got that steal, but still, overall, they're 2 dragons up and a decent amount of gold up still, all the same. What are we going to go back to the replay of? Around here as well. Okay, so Ppgod walks up. He has his ultimate, but he's never realistically going to be able to get that. Fails the wall stun and gets immediately CC'd down. So, bit of a swing and a miss there from Ppgod. Didn't really even have his team that close behind him, so not the best.
I'm going to be honest, even if he gets the wall stun, like... and, you know, like you get 100 extra damage and then die. Feels like a bit of a over-aggressive play from Ppgod. Still, you know, last game he was hitting the wall every time. This time he misses the wall. To be fair,
the secret tech.
He's been good. That's why they locked in the Poppy. He was hitting the walls every time he came to the wall. So they were like, okay, hit the walls again.
It's nothing but wall, and now he can't do that. So I don't know what the heck's happening there. It's opposite day in regards to what he wants from those champions. But still, he ended up getting that. Honestly, the one time he hit that wall stun in laning phase was the time that mattered. It's flowed across the map, so, you know, credit to him for that one. You can see that Cryin is still a decent amount of gold behind. He's not falling further behind, though, which is a bit of an issue here from OMG. He's getting access to farms, safely clearing through those side lanes. Malzahar, when he gets to this point, he's maxed out his E. He has that first item, especially with the Blackfire Torch going to burn item too. Very, very happy to just auto-clear waves. You put your E, you put your Q, you put your W with all the little gribblies walking towards the enemy, enemy tower. It's just auto-clearing the wave.
What? Gribblies?
Gribblies. Well, they're not grubs, and they're like, I know that. What are they? They're technically voidlings.
Yeah, voidlings.
It's like.
I kind of like Gribblies though.
Gribblies is cool. It's very satisfying to say, and they do a lot of good work. Malzahar players, they know exactly how much damage they do.
They certainly do. They will melt the front line quite happily. Like you say, Blackfire Torch finished off there. QSS, the tax has been paid by Angel in the mid lane. So technically, with QSS there, Cryin is 300 gold ahead because of the taxes that Angel has had to pay. Obviously, you do get stats as well as the plate, so it's not quite that simple, but Angel, I'm glad to see that respect coming through.
And you see that EDG right now trying to close that gold gap by giving Cryin the local gold from start. It's a little strange that they gave up to Jiejie too, but unless he stayed around that tower, they wouldn't have got that kill on the tower. He needed to be there for the damage, so now suddenly Cryin does get himself a little bit more gold in pocket, and this was the worry about the Malzahar. It's good what they did in the early game in regards to shutting down in terms of the CS he had. It needs to continue beyond that point. Once Malzahar gets the 2-3 items, very, very hard to play around that champion if he's not part of that initial engage. He has flash, he has ult. If he spots him here, this is going to be a dead Renekton.
Oh, Hery just gets locked up. Not a lot you can do about that one. Doesn't even get to Dominus, and that is why you pick the Malzahar right there. Could be a tier 2 in the bottom side for EDG.
Yeah, they just sent 4 people towards the Renekton. That's a 4-man dive on the bottom side turret. It's going to be good damage, and what did we just say? More gold onto the Malzahar. There is a Herald, which has been rammed into the walls. That won't get the first charge, but still, they'll get mid-turret all the same. OMG respond in 2 lanes. They will maybe get more gold out of the entire cross map, but the nucleated gold into Cryin, all focusing, funneling into this Malzahar is really important. Trying to work against the shutdown put down earlier by OMG into his lane.
Angel getting a bit of damage on the tier 2 in the top side as well. It's not quite enough. So 2 for 1 on the towers overall, but tier 2 is just so much extra gold as well on those side lanes. Like you say, the gold gap shrinking. You can see now just 500 ahead for Angel. So the Haunting Guise comes on through, completed boots as well there for Cryin. He is starting to get to the point where the Malzahar is going to really hurt in these fights, and especially if someone's picked off, they'll melt fast.
You can see he's going for the cooldown boots too, and doesn't want the initial damage, he just wants more flashes, which is really quite important for Malzahar, would you know? Dragon's up in 10 seconds, you don't have that flash and Cryin, nor do you have his ult, so EDG maybe want to back off on this one. That Malzahar ult is really important for making sure you can lock down that Vi. They're still around bot side, but I don't know, playing without that Malz ult feels risky to me.
It's sole point is the thing. OMG really want this one. I think EDG similarly want to deny it. Going to move over towards the Drake here. It's going to reset for the time being. EDG looking for the engage.
Okay, Cryin has that ult back up, came up as we were talking about it, so they can play around that again. OMG, they can't over-engage into the Malzahar. Very, very hard to survive someone getting ulted in that front line. Dragon going down, but the poke coming through from EDG.
Good true shot barrage, and Starry continuously hitting these abilities. Looking towards the engage from Wink. It's going to be a pick looking towards the side of OMG, but now OMG turned the fight back around. Solokill on the front line, but OMG just don't have the damage to finish anybody off. EDG find the pick onto Ppgod and turn towards the Dragon. Oh, Jiejie. He's done this before, but he won't be able to find it this time. He went in way too early, and now Drake at 2,000. Hery dives into the mix, and suddenly Drake goes down to EDG. EDG looking for the fight as well as they find one over the wall. Jiejie trying to escape. Leave dives forward. Jiejie to follow, but Jiejie is one shot. Now Leave has to be the one to carry, but Starry keeps hitting these Qs, and Angel has items. A second true shot barrage for the fight as Angel flashes towards the enemy, but goes down himself, and Solokill finishes off another. OMG throw the fight away. Now
it's still going.
Action as Ppgod takes Solokill. It's absolute carnage on the Rift, and OMG, they're not even done just yet. Wink has a blast code. I'm pretty sure he's out.
Ppgod had the flash. I was wondering if he could get in range for one last shunt over the wall. EDG, I don't exactly know how many kills they got in that fight, but it was a lot on both sides. I'm going to need a replay to count through these. So, first it comes down to Ppgod. That bit I remember, because there were a lot of ultimates dumped into just a Poppy. I felt like that wasn't that efficient, but as he was saying just before this, it really felt like OMG didn't have that much damage. Lee Sin ult also comes through, so it's just a 1 for none. At the start of this, Tianchen is not aiming for a fight after this point, he's aiming for the steal, and doesn't get that either. See that, Jiejie, really good damage from the kick early, gets himself that Q smite, so it's technically a 1 for none start right now. 1 kill's over, that makes it a 1 for 2. Then EDG get 1 back, 2 for 1. After this point, it really just comes about the mobility beyond this point. Absolute mess. Gosh, I don't even know exactly who comes out the winner from this because of the so much gold going into different people.
This flash from Angel was not it. Brings Faker's skin into the server and then face plants into 2 people. At least they got one on Solokill at the end of things. Honestly, I have no idea who wins the fight. I guess EDG got the Drake.
I think also, I think it was a 4 for 3.
Yeah.
I think it's a 4 for 3 overall. Look, it was really quite hard to tell because they happened like spread over about a minute and a bit. All the same, yeah, getting that Dragon to take away from Soul Point definitely helps, especially given that they didn't have that Melzahar flash. They have that flash now, so now Cryin really can go towards someone more aggressively yet again. If you can go onto Starry particularly, but I mean, we just saw it on Ppgod too. Yeah, you got the Warmog, 2 HP, doesn't give you resist. So, potentially EDG looking for another big Melzahar flash
Hery.
play at some point, and they're going onto the side lane now.
Leave on the flank, not necessarily the greatest flanker, but it's enough to herd Hery away. Solokill and Jiejie are here. No opportunity for Hery to get anything except for a bot lane tower. Hery is actually going to commit with the demolish and grabs himself a tower before he goes down.
There are 3 people who are now in that bot side, which means that OMG can cross-map somewhere else. They only have the 3 grubs. There's enough to get some tower damage. So, I mean, heads-up play from Hery. Realizes he's messed up and overpushed. Gets something for it. Gets some gold. He keeps himself ahead of Solokill in terms of individual gold. I suppose you'll take it given the situation that he was in. Problem is when you're splitting the map like this too, is that you just have to feel like EDG are much better designed in their composition to force plays right now. 2 items plus the boots on Cryin really easy to do that, but now it's OMG forcing.
Chance onto Jiejie in the jungle here. Tianjin starting out with off. Starry has got plenty of damage to follow it up. Solokill now tries to save his jungler, ends up chained himself. But luckily, he's on K'Sante, so impossible.
Wait, Baron's up. Hang on, are we just going to get a Baron start after this point? There's no smite, and we saw plenty of Baron throws on the other side. OMG,
no.
Yep, they killed the enemy jungler. It is just past 20 minutes. EDG must look for the fight in a 4v5.
Jiejie is not going to survive social media after this series, is he? Picked right as Baron comes up onto the map, and OMG have to start at EDG looking for the 4v5 right here. They've got to find a miracle fight. Ppgod the target once more. He goes down, but that's so much use. EDG trying to kite back. The health bar's still going somehow. Solokill falls as the True Shot Barrage slides between the targets, and EDG, they've pulled the fight off.
They have, and they managed to stop the Baron. So with Jiejie dying before it evens up the overall trade to a 2-for-2, but EDG winning the 4v5, and they take 2 kills of their own. That's a massive win for them. They do end up using a couple of key summoners. Solokill has no flash, Cryin has no flash, so that will come to impact the next few minutes. But EDG not letting the Baron be the story of this game in their own demise. You see that, you know, no smite, definitely the right decision to start this up, but Solokill, we talked about this K'Sante being so good into the poppy, because you just press W in front of the ultimate, and that's once again Ppgod struggling to have big impact in this fight. If you can get rid of one important member, it's not just a 4v5 at that point, it can even be like a 5v3 in favor of OMG. Can't quite pull it off, because Solokill positions himself correctly.
7-9 on the scoreboard. Gold just 1,000 apart, and Drake is spawning once again. Neither of these teams believes in side lanes at this point. They want to 5v5. Both teams very happy to just go again and again. I can hear a bell in the distance. We're going for round number 2 here. Or round number 4, I think, in this game, actually. As Angel trying to get...
It's a whole lot. There are lots of rounds. We're getting to the point where we're limping away from the ring each time. Dragon started up, Cryin. No flash. Jiejie, no flash. Lots of the playmaking tools not there from EDG, but is the damage there from OMG?
I think EDG are just going to finish this Drake, though, before OMG really move in. OMG just watch it go down, and it doesn't even look like they're really going to commit to finding a fight either. True Shot Barrage going to come on through. It's damage onto Solokill, but I mean, that is a K'Sante. Maybe they could move bot. They've got a wave there, but realistically, with Baron up, you can't afford to be on that bottom side of the map. So EDG just get that one pretty much for free.
Solokillers were doing an awful lot of work in the last couple of team fights. Right there, again, you see that OMG dunking a load of damage. They just don't have the damage just yet. Even with the 2 items from Ezreal, they can't finish him off. If they had managed to force him to go back to base, they could have maybe, because he doesn't have that teleport, maybe they could have ended up getting himself an advantage on the map as he looks to kind of regen his HP. EDG, they managed to get themselves another objective, and OMG not really managing to find the fights in the way that they wanted to. EDG, their team fights are looking a lot more solid in this time. I think a lot of it has come through the fact that Solokill is such an obnoxious front line, and the fact that OMG aren't quite managing to get the carries in the right way.
Potential pick, all out comes through in the top side. Angel pushed away, but Solokill still survives. Leave has dived behind the enemy team here, but will get away with it. That was the clone. It looks like EDG can't quite, they can't find a counter pick, but also OMG couldn't quite finish the kill onto Solokill either. Man, these games have been so weird. The way that these fights pan out is just so back and forth.
It is effectively disregard setup and mechanics of the way. Effectively, it's just like someone sees an angle and they say, I'm going in. And everyone just has to adapt to whoever made the last big play. Right there, Solokill gets caught out by a weird interaction, catches the LeBlanc mid-flight, changes the angle of his ult. He had a really good catch onto Angel in regards to finding himself a chance to get a load of melee range trades against him. Yes, that Angel does have to blow his flash, which is potentially quite important. Angel, despite the fact that he did have that early advantage against the Malzahar, hasn't really managed to land the damage he needed to after that point. A number of times he's distorted in the middle of the team fight and found himself dying after the, well, at least having to retreat after that point. Only died the one time so far. The game now slows down a bit. EDG pushing out their side lanes, trying to wave clear where they can. OMG, they were trying to, I think for a bit, just leverage the fact that they had better teleports up because Solokill didn't have his teleport to go towards the bot side, so they matched Hery down there. They don't have that now, so Solokill is happy to match that wave down there. It really is going to come about these map movements and seeing whether there's an overlap at an important moment to start up the Baron, or of course the Dragon that's coming up in the next couple of minutes.
I'm looking across the scoreboard here. Hery on 2 items on that Renekton. Last game, he kind of struggled to impact the game until a little bit later on that Ken, and then suddenly one fight turned it all around. Maybe Hery can have a similar moment this time around. Looking towards Cryin as well, though. 2 items on that Malzahar. It's a champion now that really can just 100-0 someone if they step out of position. Hery still trying to push in that bottom side as EDG fight for vision control of this Baron.
Oof, Leaves even doing a hell of a lot of damage there too. Has the double upgrade because he has that Nash's Tooth. So he's going to have his own poke. So before that I was thinking, okay, maybe OMG, they can play around the poke. Look at the damage coming from LeBlanc. That's nice. You have the Ezreal, but Leave, if he starts hitting W's, maybe match it back. He's losing it out for now, though. Now he's so low HP. This might be the fight OMG are looking for.
TP from Hery as well as they try and dive in, but his Tianjins go down instead. Wink sets up so much. Hery needs to get in the fight, but he's just realized it's doomed. 2 kills for EDG, and they move towards the big purple worm. Can OMG hold on?
Oh, this is going to be so hard. Maybe Starry can find himself a shooting gallery, land those Ezreal Qs, but it is getting burnt down. They don't have that much time to land this decent poke.
Oh god, they're so healthy as well. EDG, this one should be in the bag. Baron will be taken, and OMG sent packing. Maybe can find a little bit more as Angel is caught. That's a 5-man true shot barrage from Starry. I mean, he certainly padded his damage stats, but it doesn't lead to anything.
It almost led to something when they chunked out Leave at the start of that top side play, but OMG, they're finding the problem where if you don't dive directly onto the backline, it's really hard to get yourself a winning fight. Leave takes a good chunk out of from LeBlanc. The true shot barrage adds to the woes there too, which means that this looks like a good fight. You can get yourself a fight while Leave is so low HP. Still has ult, still has barrier. And it's a bit of a misplay from Tianjins. Tried to smite away the spell shield from Malzahar, but can't get himself the ultimate in time before he is ulted himself by the mouse. Locked down, locked out. 2 kills very quickly over to the side of EDG.
I mean, Cryine's just the better player, isn't he? He's just completely outskilled him there. Tianjin ends up going down. I wonder if Tianjin goes QSS this game. We'll have to find out. Ppgod tanking a good amount of damage right before a fight here, but he does have a Warmog, so the TP in from Cryin. EDG getting onto the scene. 3rd Drake for either team. Whoever gets it would put themselves to sole point here. And it will be OMG to control mid. Should be able to move into river.
So this would be an important Dragon for OMG to at least get that soul win condition a little bit later. EDG, they've been winning over the last minute or two. It's been really easy for them to walk around areas of the map. They have the flash and Malzahar on after all this time, and they start the Dragon. It'll be immediately going down soul point over to EDG.
Pretty unfortunate for OMG that they commit all 5 players to setting up for this Drake, but then don't commit to the fight, don't contend. Perhaps could have sent people to the side lanes trying to play elsewhere on the map. But I suppose if you go elsewhere on the map, EDG can also commit less people to the Drake. And suddenly, it feels real scary for OMG. They've not got a lot of vision outside of their towers, have they? This feels oppressive on the side of EDG.
And you just get to send again the Gribblies forward to make sure that there's extra turret shots to be tanked as well. Baron buff helping them. Mid-tower very easily taken. EDG. This is very, very strong moment for them because now they get to walk into the enemy jungle much more easily. They haven't really been able to do that in this game, but with the flash, Malzahar ultimate, plays become so much more easy to make.
Flash forwards and in dives everybody. Cryin survives! He walks away with his life. True shot barrage Gonna be a false shot barrage on this one. EDG 2 for 0.
Oh, it's a bit of Pyrite instead of gold. Fool's gold as OMG try and take down Cryin, and he survives on single-digit HP. Felt like it. Couldn't quite get themselves that slap back at EDG with the rest of the Baron buff. Only 10 seconds of it left. Won't even be stalled out by the inhib turret. They'll take 2 extra turrets from beyond what I thought they'd be capable of doing to get themselves a significant gold lead now from where it was before.
Bit of desperation from OMG trying to brute force these fights. The Vipig not working out for them. Really in either game, obviously the smite steals came through. It wasn't MVP, but I don't know if we really say that the Vipig worked for them in that game. This is starting to feel really tough for OMG. EDG, once again in control. They were in control in the previous game. They kind of lost control. This time around, they are in charge.
So Tianjin looks for the Q flash. He hits one person. If he hits that Q flash onto Cryin, then he kills him. He doesn't manage to land it there. A couple of times now the Q flash has just gone wide, just gone a little bit short. Just can't quite get it there, and you see that Cryin very, very low HP, but just about survives.
EDG, can they do it? Can they finish the job? I mean, do you know what? I'm not willing to say anything. I'll just wait and see. I'll wait and see.
Yeah.
After that first game of this series, I don't say anything about whether or not a team is going to finish this one off. Cryin, though, has survived that early game. He's got to the point where he's got items. He's got to the point now where he is going to be able to just melt anyone that comes near him. And it's so hard to pick off a Malzahar. He's got 3.5 items, by the way. This Poppy as well looked good in the early stages of the laning phase. We've yet to see a really impactful ultimate. We've yet to see much of pushing that advantage further after that lane.
The problem here is that OMG, their play is to force on you with a LeBlanc and a Vi just trying to shut down that one target. That's not worked. OMG don't exactly do that much else with this team composition. They have tried at points to play through more lanes than EDG, send Hery to a side lane, send Angel to a side lane. Because EDG can push so heavily now, and they have good poke, and the wave play's not quite there from OMG. They can't even 1-3-1 because EDG have now broken open the map with super minions too. So OMG feels like their teeth have really just been pulled out here from EDG. It's really, really hard for them to play through what their composition wants them to do, and what that means that it's much harder to force now while Cryin has no flash, because once he gets that flash again, the both offensive and defensive plays become that much more powerful, and it also stalls out the game to the point where the Renekton is just much less useful than the K'Sante. I had this conversation just before we went on air as well. That feels like we have the Nidalee pass, and we had the LPL Corki pass as well, where we had a couple of players that can play the Corki well. Feel like Renekton is also up there. Hery, I think, has done fine on the weak side, but if you're going to use the Renekton, you need to snowball earlier. You are running out of time on this pick, and I think EDG might have just made this champion a little bit obsolete.
Doesn't feel like Hery can have much of an impact. And he needs to. He needs to be a part of these fights. EDG just staying as a 5-man unit, as they should, because second OMG sees someone separated, they've got plenty of big potential of their own. EDG actually may be looking for a fight in the mid lane, not going to allow OMG to contend with
Oh,
Jiejie!
Jiejie
Starts it onto Starry. Gorgeous engage from the EDG jungler. A foot to the face, and it will be the final breath here for OMG as EDG charge down that mid lane. Jiejie, phenomenal stuff. After 2 Barons are stolen from him in game number 1, he finds the game-winning kick for EDG here in game number 2. It's not quite over just yet, though. They've got to take down these Nexus towers. Ppgod and Hery doing their best to stem the tide. But Wink charges back into the fray. Ppgod sent away, and that will be curtains. OMG taken down in game 2 as Leave looks for 2 more on the fountain. EDG pushes to 3.
Who else but the last remaining world champion on this EDG roster? They have seen some dark, dark days. They are a far distance away from those lofty heights they reached, but Jiejie showing that he can still have those top draw moments. That was a kick into a Malzahar ult into the end of the game. Love to see that playmaking still available to EDG after a split, well, a whole year of really, really poor form from this team. They still got something left.
They certainly do. Jiejie definitely does in his right foot, calling Beckham at this point. Fantastic stuff coming out from him. We're going to game 3. We'll go into a quick break, and we'll be back with the conclusion to this section.